Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the ReLaunch Real Estate Podcast. It has been 3 weeks since we have had an episode. There's been a lot of reasons for that. We were on vacation 1 week with our family, and we missed that week. The other is just the crazy real estate market, right? The market is absolutely insane right now. And as some of you guys know, you've probably been busier than ever. And some of you may be feeling the opposite, like what the heck is going on in my business right now because I am really slow and I can't get things to happen. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And then one of the weeks, full disclosure, was one of the hardest weeks in my professional career, even before real estate. Combined, it was a really, really tough week. And the week after that, I missed the podcast because I was dealing with a lot of stuff. And we're going to talk about that too, some business principles, some hiring principles, profitability, all of those things today. We're going to jump into that on a big macro level for those of us who have teams, own a brokerage, or considering teams, or those of us who kind of are independent agents, but we invest a lot of money in things and have help or administrative help. We're going to talk about that today, and then we're going to jump into some real quick ideas that I have in order to go get the listings, because Lord knows we need more of those in our marketplace, and discuss what we had discussed in our team meeting at Crest Point last week on some ideas to do so. So hope you guys are great. Have missed doing this. I really have. And missing 3 weeks was really, really tough, but ready to get back on the saddle here and discuss, being a better agent with you guys and increasing your production and giving you everything that at least I know in order to do so. Okay. So let's talk about that hard week that I had as an owner, as a leader, as a person in this business, and kind of recap that and some lessons I learned. In short, we had to make a decision at our brokerage to enhance profitability. There were some people that had to go from our brokerage, unfortunately, and then also another decision that we had made was to increase productivity. Right, so we had to give some feedback and do some things in our brokerage to make sure that our brokerage productivity was where it needed to be. And those are really, really hard conversations to have with folks. And those are really difficult moments in a owner's life to have those kind of discussions with his or her employees or contractors or salespeople. And I tell you what, I think that in the most part, as an owner, you can prevent those things with some prevent having to have those conversations or those decisions, those really hard decisions, with some really just key, simple principles in running your business. So I wrote some of those down. This one's, everybody's heard it, especially in our industry, especially if you're a serial real estate podcast listener. Everybody's heard this, but hire slow and fire fast. I'm going to say this: hire slow, slow, slow. Okay. I am guilty. And I'll tell you this just from my personal failure. We as broker owners and team leaders and people that run teams and, need help, we get sometimes so crazy, so busy, or we have a growth ego, okay, that we need to satisfy. So it's either our busyness or our growth ego that we want to satisfy. And we tend to bring on a lot of folks really fast before the organization is ready for it, before the business is ready for it, for your own personal production is ready for that, just for the numbers and the growth, right? And that was a mixture of our problems here that I had went through 3 weeks ago, is that we probably grew and scaled too fast as a brokerage, as a team, and personally, potentially, right? And sometimes when you scale really fast, more complexity, meaning more people or more systems, actually prevents growth. And I learned that from a coach of mine. His name's Eric Hatch. He told me this 3-4 weeks ago, that the more complex your organization gets in regards to people, in regards to systems, in regards to policies, it actually hinders growth. And I think that is something to really consider in your business as you scale as a real estate broker or a real estate agent, sales agent. I think it's something to really consider. It is tempting to listen to the podcasts and read the books and where they say, grow, recruit, bring on buyer agent after buyer agent after buyer agent, and let them build your sphere and all those things. That actually creates complexity that hinders growth. And for us last year in our brokerage, we had an amazing year. And the year before, we had an amazing year considering the amount of people that we had. So proud of the people that we had. And that brought a lot of attention to our brokerage and people that wanted to join. And truthfully, instead of growing as big as we did in hindsight, we should have been feeding and filling up the people that we had here more, right? So, you see this, a business owner, you might see this trajectory of your success, right? And you think, oh, well, if I'm growing, I need to grow in people, I need to grow in systems, I need to grow in complexity because I have to keep up. There's also this age-old saying, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. I think everything in life is this happy medium that we have to like respect, okay? Can't be growing all the time. It creates too much complexity, but we also cannot be stale and not do anything, right? There has to be this middle ground. And that middle ground, for me personally, I escaped it towards the growth side in 2020 a little bit too fast. And in an effort to grow, I hired fast, okay? Even though my gut told me it was fine, my gut told me it was okay, just go ahead, we're going to need it. I'll tell you that sometimes you don't listen to your gut. Sometimes in hiring, you have to challenge yourself. You have to challenge your opinions of what your knee-jerk reaction of ease or convenience. And there were a few times where I had done that in hiring. And we learned our lesson, right? As broker owners and team leaders, it is important that every person you bring onto your organization is, number one, a culture fit. They believe in the organization, they represent the organization in professionalism, and they also can be productive, okay? Play nice with others, all those things. And you have to really get to know somebody for a very long period of time in order to see if that's going to happen. You can't determine that in one interview, let alone 2 interviews, okay? So I had talked about this in my team building podcast several episodes back, but this is what I am doing from now on, and when I had done it in the past, it led to a very good hire. It is interview once. Simple phone interview for your position. So if it's an assistant, if it's a showing partner, if it is a buyer's agent or a listing agent or a operations manager, any of those things, initial phone interview for the position, okay? And that's a rapport building interview, okay? Hey, I saw your resume, you did these things, that's great, tell me about your experience in those things. Second, sit down interview, okay? Tell me more about your career experiences. Tell me about your best boss. Tell me what you would do for $1 million. If you had $1 million, what would you spend that money on? Tell me what you'd do if you had free time. Tell me what your worst boss looked like. Tell me about what happened when you had the rug pulled out of you from underneath you in your professional life. All of those things. Sorry, guys. Then, second interview's there. That's awesome. Now, after your second interview, you go do what's called a job shadow. They need to job shadow you. they need to do a working interview, okay? Working interview, job shadow. And that is before what I like to call skills tests. So you've got initial interview, second interview in person, third, a shadow or a working interview, okay? And then fourth would be a skills test. All of these things have to pass, and they have to pass really, really well in order for you to even consider bringing on somebody. And I know that sounds crazy, but even like a buyer's agent, okay, even like an associate agent that's going to come work for your team or your brokerage, I think you got to do this, right? You have to do this. You have to see every bit and piece about them. You have to get to the part where you feel comfortable with them, like being able to maybe tell a joke, or they tell you a little bit something personal, or they tell you something about what's going on in their life, okay? Because all of those things are important when bringing on people, not just the surface level softball interview questions that we give, okay? So, you do those 4 steps, and then, in that skills test, you have to assess clearly what you're needing in that job, okay? You have to provide a timeline for it. You have to for it to be completed. You have to provide clear and concise instructions for them. And if they miss those instructions and they miss those details, that might be your sign of, hey, this isn't going to be a great fit. So hire super slow, okay? And then fire fast, okay? That is not a rule that I'd want to change. All right. That rule lives. If at any point in your organization, if you feel like someone might just be a better fit elsewhere, or if you feel like they are preventing you from being profitable, any of those things, it's important to make sure that you, first give feedback. Okay. Give feedback, communicate clearly. And a performance, enhancement plan is given. Like, hey, moving forward, I would like you to do these things better. Let's talk about it in a quarter. If performance doesn't, improve, then it's time to go from your organization, because if profitability is being hindered, if culture is being torn down, if productivity isn't where you as a leader have clearly defined it to be, if it's not there, then it's time to have a conversation with that person and try to find them another opportunity. Okay, that rule is not broke. Hire slow, and then fire fast. Okay. Here's what I've learned also. Hire someone if you can. Okay, so just looking back through the trajectory of the people that have joined our brokerage. A majority of the folks I knew, and I knew before this, and those relationships always go really well. Also, just talking to my coaches, Robbie and Eric, they have found in their organization, who sells 900 to 1,000 homes a year with a pretty small outfit, okay, they found that the best agents and the best admin and the best ISAs and the best partners are people that they had known, okay? Reason being is you truly know what makes this person tick. You truly know what their soft skills are. So then you just have to test their hard skills, like the stuff that they have to learn. It seems to always work really well when you hire somebody that you know. If you don't know someone, then you got to go through those 4 steps that I had mentioned before. After hiring them, then you have to assess, like I'd mentioned, give a performance improvement plan if need be, and continue to assess their productivity, profitability, and their culture fit over and over and over and over again. Okay? Clearly communicate with them. Also, about hiring, brokerage, and business building, okay? It's important that you shore yourself up. So if you're a top producing agent, it's important that you shore your production and that you develop a group of people to protect that, okay, first, before hiring people to create their productions, okay, and to create their own little businesses inside yours, okay? If your business, and some might find that offensive, and that's okay, but if my mic here is your business, okay, and for those of you that are just listening, I have my hands around it, okay, you have to put a wall around this business, okay? Some of us as leaders in an organization, we allow a lot of cracks in that wall, or we'll even give up, a lot of the things that we created for other people's little businesses inside ours. We'll sacrifice those things in an effort to please, right? And that can be detrimental to your organization. So that's one point that I really put in here in my talk today that I wanted you guys to know about, is that you have to protect your production. You have to protect your nest egg, and make sure that it's shored up with people that can do that before you expand and grow and add complexities to your organization. Okay, so I've learned my lesson on this too. I really think if you are a solo agent ready to scale, if you are a solo agent who's ready to team up first, okay, create a true team for you, not just agents that go and try and find and sell things, okay? I think the first step, you can do that later. I'm not saying that you can't, but the first step should be shore up your people. Find yourself a partner that can assist you with your business, your showings, your lead follow-up, your email, taking your phone from you. Find a partner that can do those things first, okay? Then find maybe another partner, okay, as you grow. And then maybe you guys need an admin or a transaction coordinator to protect your environment, okay? Then you've got, and these people need to be with you for a while, okay? They have to earn their stripes. They have to prove that they are there for you at all times, right? And that you're there for them at all times. It goes back and forth. Everybody has to prove that they can work together in this nest before you add complexities to it. That's a mistake that I made in some facets in my organization, and others, I got lucky and found some really amazing people that created small businesses inside of our small business. Okay. But looking back, all of the people that I have at my brokerage currently right now, I would still have here, but I probably would have brought them on a little bit later, because I didn't have my nest formed. The people that are at our brokerage at Crest Point are beautiful, amazing people, and I love them to death. And I want them here forever, because everybody we have here at our brokerage is a beautiful culture fit right now. I got lucky with them. I got really lucky with them, and I am so honored to have them. Because I didn't have my my stuff together at first, right? I thought it was just what you did when you were a top producing agent. You just brought on team members, right? And that is, I truly believe that model's broken. So protect that nest egg, right? Shore your team up before you scale. Complexity hinders growth, but also if you're not growing, you're dying. So you got to play in the middle there. And to me, I repeat myself a lot, but the best solution to that middle ground is growing your safety net, right? Is growing your people that help you scale, that help you grow personally, right? And then create complexity once that's formed. Some might not love that look, but this is just kind of my opinion on doing business right now as an agent, especially if you're scaling. And there are people in our industry right now that are doing better than they ever have, and they're thinking about scaling. And I am just encouraging you to scale in the right way. Okay. So that kind of wraps up the topic of a hard week at Crest Point. Now I'm going to give you a few things here, real quick. to think about in regards to getting some listings. Okay. The first is I went on a radio chat. I do a market minute on a couple of radio stations in Indianapolis. And the topic today was the potential capital gains increase. Okay. So real quick, for those of you who haven't had a lot of experience in working with investors, currently in our environment and in our country, if you have an investment property that you've owned for more than 2 years, that's long-term capital gains, more than 2 years, and investment property, meaning not your primary residence. If you sell that property, then you are subject to capital gains tax on the true profits that you made, okay, on just the profits. That capital gains tax right now is capped at 20% for the most wealthy folks, is capped at 20%. Most people fall within 15 or 20% when they're real estate investors. And so that means, you'd pay $20,000 in tax if you made a $100,000 profit. It's actually about 23.8% is what they pay, because there's another 4% that is to fund the Affordable Health Care Act. As you guys know, the only way to avoid a capital gains is to participate in a true 1031 exchange. Okay, ask your title rep about that. Chicago Title and Avon, Jamie Kester in Avon, Indiana, is my go-to on that. And she has a great 1031 exchange solution for those people who want to do it. Well, right now, there is a proposal in our federal administration that capital gains tax is doubled, meaning that for the most wealthy people and the wealthy investors, that their capital gains could be as much as 44% or 48% on the profits of a long-term investment in real estate. Okay, that's like knee crushing, right? I mean, that literally means like half of the profits that someone were to make on a long-term investment in real estate go to Uncle Sam. So I think, as a not only as a marketing tactic, but as a knowledge-based tactic, which people look at us for real estate knowledge, folks. It is time for us to reach out to all of our investors, all of our sphere, and say, hey guys, just something that could be on the horizon is that if you have a second home, if you have a vacation property, if you have a rental that you've considered selling, if you have a property that's just sat vacant that you don't own, that's not your primary residence any longer, and you've owned it for 2 years, if you want to sell it, you might want to think about the capital gains implications now versus the future. You also need to be honest with them, because this proposal proposes that any sales that happen in 2021 are retroactively are assessed this high capital gains. Come at it from a knowledge-based standpoint, right? Hey folks, this is what's happening. There's a Reuters article online. If you just Google Reuters capital gains tax increase, there's an article online about that. Share that article, share it with your sphere, share it with your investors, and educate them about that, okay? Obviously, this could create some listings for you as an agent, okay? Now, anybody that's owned an investment property for less than 2 years, that is short-term capital gains, and that what they get taxed on there is their true established personal tax rate, okay? So that could change, but right now there's no proposed change for that. But this capital gains could be huge, okay? So it might be an opportunity for them to get in front of it. It could be an opportunity for you to educate some folks on what that looks like. It could also be an opportunity for you to score a listing, okay? My second piece of advice that I shared with the folks in our brokerage yesterday is, most folks that are successful in real estate, majority of their business comes from sphere and referral, right? Well, sphere and referral is a little bit hard to do in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. Still, I'm ready for this to be over and take our masks off personally. But it's difficult to socialize, right? It's difficult to do large gatherings. People just aren't doing them as much anymore, and it's tough. It's difficult to, maybe plug into like a chamber of commerce or it's difficult to plug into like a Kiwanis club or something like that, or an Eagles club, or whatever, where there'd be a large group of people that you could normally meet with on a regular basis, and they're not there anymore. So what I said is, I think plug in where you still can. And you know what? I'll tell you, there are hundreds of organizations in this county here in Indiana that need volunteer help. Okay. And one of our core values at our brokerage is gratitude, right? Like giving back, saying thank you, those kind of things. And I believe in that. And I can tell you from my personal experience that being involved in some organizations or sitting on the board in some organizations and giving back to that community, whatever that community is it helps with real estate burnout, right? We get burnout because we're so busy. It helps make us feel purposeful again, right? It also increases the amount of people that we know, love, and can help. And increases the amount of people that know, love, and trust us, okay? Which ideally, that's our sphere. So when it's hard to grow a sphere in the midst of this environment, I also think it's very possible by getting involved in an organization that volunteers, because these organizations still need your help. Okay, so like local shelters, women's shelters, men's shelters, addiction groups, church groups, community foundations that give back. I mean, there's literally hundreds of them in just this area in our city alone and across America that you can give back to. And then the last thing I'm going to say today, we're going to probably keep this right around 30 minutes today, is right now, for those of you that are on the flip side of I'm the busiest I've ever been, because it seems like there's like two sets of real estate agents right now, is what I've heard. Busiest I've ever been. This is absolutely crazy. It's great, but man, it's crazy. And then you have the other agent over here going, this is the hardest it's ever been. I'm really struggling right now. I don't have anything going on because I can't get buyers into a place, et cetera, et cetera. Please refer back to a previous podcast I had in getting your buyer's offers one, because it still holds true today. If you haven't listened to that, I can't remember the episode right now, but I know it was in the past. Play for those people that are having some trouble and those people that are winning right now. Right now, it's the long game, folks. Play the long game, okay? Line up these folks that you can help in the future. Keep prospecting. Keep calling neighborhoods and educating people about real estate market values. Keep generating online leads, even though it's hard to find them a listing right now. Keep doing those things, because our market will correct. It will. And every single drop you have in your bucket, and that takes the people element out of it. I don't like that. Every single person that you have in your sphere, whether they were bought online leads that you converted into a relationship, or cold calls that you converted into a relationship, or true sphere and referral people that just can't get anything right now, keep them there. Keep loving on them. Touch on them once a month with a newsletter. Touch on them once a month with a thank you card for just, staying in touch with you. Love on these people, because our market will correct and they will all have an opportunity in the future. Okay? What you're doing right now is you're playing a really long game, and don't give up on it. If you're having trouble, do not give up. If you're having trouble putting people in homes, if you're representing buyers, refer back to my episode in regards to how to get your buyers offers one. If you're having a hard time finding sellers right now because they have nowhere to go, that's fine, okay? Nurture them and nurture them and nurture them until the market corrects, or until there's inventory available to them, or until a new construction option comes. Or go find a listing for them, okay? Go cold call a listing neighborhood for them where they want to be. It's the long play, and you can't forget about them. So you have to have a really powerful CRM like Sierra Interactive, in which we use here at our brokerage that we provide our agents. Got to have a really powerful CRM that, one, lets you know when to follow up, two, lets you know when these people are active again, and three, you can set manual follow-ups for these folks so that you don't forget them. Okay, and you can love on them inside of this CRM and all the things. So guys, that's my podcast for this week. Sorry for being gone for 3 weeks, but had a lot going on in the world of Patrick Keller this last 3 weeks, and I'm sure you all did too. So I hope you found this valuable, summary. Go back and listen to my business growth tips in regards to real estate and and scaling too fast, and how growth creates complexity sometimes. Okay, definitely listen to those things. And then I gave you 3 quick tips on how to go get either some sales or how to not get discouraged. You're playing the long game, so don't get discouraged. Educate your folks on capital gains tax and what this could implement, or what they can do to avoid it, and how this could affect them. And plug in and give back and volunteer where you can, okay? Because there are organizations that need you to increase your sphere and to give back and to recharge your batteries. I hope you all have a great day, and thanks again for listening to another episode of the ReLaunch Real Estate Podcast. Please subscribe on relaunchpodcast.com, and excited to bring you some more content here in the future. Thanks a bunch. Bye.